Right, so today we're talking about AI again, and our article is this one here. So AI is creative block, and it's on the Axios.com website. Scott Rosenberg has written it, and I just love this picture, this GIF or GIF. So I sort of imagine this as like an AI has grown some arms and it's drawing away here, but it's drawing exactly the same thing. So, what does this make you think? Does this remind you of anything?
Yeah, it's Leonardo da Vinci.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, uh, um, let's call it. It's a name for that, but it's at the tip of my
Tip of
tongue.
my tongue, as they say. Vitruvian. How's it spelled? Is it V E or V R? Vitru. Vitruvian man. Oh, my spelling. Look at the spelling. It's terrible. Let's hope Google. Yeah, Vitruvian man. Here we go. Yeah, there's a picture there, isn't it? So that's it. You've got it. Well done. So the Vitruvian Man is a drawing by the Italian Renaissance artist and scientist Leonardo da Vinci, dated 1490, inspired by the writings of ancient Roman I guess that's Vitruvius. There was a guy called Vitruvius, an ancient Roman guy. So that's it there. So yeah, oh blast! I can't get rid of this thing at the top of the page. Here we go. So we've seen that. We looked at that. I love that little diagram. It's sort of very childish, very childishly appeals to me. That does. Okay, so maybe if I read a bit and then you read a bit, is that okay?
Yeah, perfect.
Here we go. So tech evangelists predict the arrival of superintelligence any year now, but others doubt AI will ever produce its own Leonardos and Einsteins. So maybe it's your go. So that was an easy bit there I had. So this is
Driving the news in a post on X Tuesday, OpenAI CEO Sam Altman touted the company's development of a new model that is a good at creative writing and showed off its work, 1,000 word metafictional compositions of AI and grief. Yeah, grief.
yeah, that's it. Yeah, yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's pretty nice. Let me read it back to you then. So, driving the news in a post on X Tuesday, OpenAI CEO Sam Altman touted the company's development of a new model that is good at that is good at creative writing, and showed off its work, 1,000 word metafictional composition on grief and AI. Sorry, AI and grief. God, that's the wrong way around. So I think it was just touters that I noted there. So I'm sure you know what a tout is or a touted.
Tout,
So
like direction this way. This, no.
it's more to do with you know about ticket touts. They try to sell you a ticket for a game they're not interested in. Have you ever bumped into one of those guys going past a football match or something?
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
a tout, someone who sells something to you, and you're probably not interested in it, and they're quite forceful about
Yeah.
it. They're polite enough, as long as they buzz off, they won't hit you or anything, but hopefully. Yeah, but they're forceful. That's the only thing I think, really. So let's close some of these other windows because I can see my computer exploding. Yeah. Anything? Just say if there's anything strikes you there. So we've read something before from Sam Altman. He's like the big guy at OpenAI, isn't he? And of course, CEO stands. What does CEO stand for?
Uh, Chief Executive.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, yeah, I don't know what calls
No, you've got it. You've got it actually. So Chief Executive Officer.
officer. Yeah.
Sometimes there's COO, and that would be Chief Operating Officer, I think. And there's a few bunch of other ones. They love giving themselves these three-letter names. It just means they're in charge of the business in some way, isn't it? So I'll read the next one maybe. So why it matters. Creativity could be the final hurdle for AI to leap, for AI to leap in proving its humanity's peer. But until then, many see it as the last bastion of humanity's irreplaceability. Lots of long ideas, long words and strange ideas. Do you think you could sum that up in your own words? Maybe. Do you know what
Um,
it's saying? Bit tricky.
yeah. Uh, why it matter? So, um, like, define
So let me just read. I'll read up to that up to there, and you just listen, and then you think about what it means, and then try to say it back again in your own words. So we're talking about AI, of course. So creativity could be the final hurdle for AI to leap. So to leap, to leap in proving its humanity's peer. It's strangely written, that isn't it?
so that means that our creativity could be only outsourced AI, proving that humanity has got superior above
Mm.
above.
Yeah, possibly. Yes. So when I read this, it seems to me it's saying the big thing I get there is it's like AI is trying to prove it's at least equal to us. And so when something's the peer of something else, it sort of means it's equal. If I'm the peer of the guy down the road, it means we're it's equal in some way or other.
Because I thought about the guy in a parliament.
Of those
Or
sort of peers. That's right. Yeah, it's the same spelling, I think. Yeah, it is. But just different meaning, really, I would say, or related but different. So, um, and then the last bit there, the very that last bit, could you put that one into your own words too? So listen, try and take it in, and then put it into your own words. So, but until then, many see it as the last bastion of humanity's irreplaceability.
so it's like mm, a lot of people thinks that what AI can't replace is our creativity, and it's like a
Yeah,
castle which can't
yeah,
bust.
that's it. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, a castle, a bastion, same sort of thing, isn't it? Really, that's it.
I think that would be from French bastion.
Yes, yeah, quite possibly. Yes, I'm not sure. Yeah, it might even be Latin or something. Yeah, so but we both French and German share it. We could well be. Yeah, I could search it, but
I always, when I see this word, I always got in my mind the picture of French Revolution and the castle which
but
was conquered by
yeah,
the revolutionist.
revolutionists. That's right. Yeah, the
Um,
Bastille, the Bastille.
Bastille, yeah.
That's it. So let's look up bastion. I think technically a bastion is like one sort of corner of a castle sort of thing. So if a system or organization is described as a bastion of a particular way of life, it is seen as being important and effective in defending that way of life. That's right, yeah, that's exactly how we've used it in our sentence. So it's a bastion of humanity's irreplaceability, I think, wasn't it, or something. So bastion can be used both when you think that this way of life should be ended, and when you think it should be defended. So stronghold, like a castle, support, defense, rock, and there's lots of synonyms.
Stronghold, that's the word, yeah.
Strong, yeah, that's it. So,
Especially, during the war, they say stronghold or bastion. Or we
mm.
can say during the election, you can bastion of the Tories.
That's yeah. There's some seat falls to the Labour Party. It was the bastion, the last bastion of the Tories has fallen. That's it.
The
Yeah,
stronghold of Red War. And then,
yeah. The other way around. That's it. The Red Wall. That there's numerous seats there, wasn't it, that fell to the Tory Party in the previous elections of that. So you're exactly right, actually. So here it says So the origin of this word, or etymology, is from French and from earlier Bastillon, I suppose. Bastion, from Bastille. It just keeps saying Bastille, Bastille, doesn't it? So really, it might even come from the name Bastille. What they're
Yeah,
saying here, I didn't even know that.
I
I
think
should.
it's famous castle in French in the
That's
France.
right. Yeah. Well, that's right. It's kind of the fall of the Bastille sort of marks the start of the French Revolution, doesn't it? Pretty much the
Yeah,
fall of the Bastille. So as you say, there were people imprisoned there, literally a handful of people imprisoned there, and the people outside stormed the castle, the Bastille. It fell, and they let out the people, and seemed to start the revolution, essentially.
seems like French culture got something in the guts that they always something big starting from there.
Yeah. It's fascinating. It's so true though, isn't it? That I mean, it's a bit like the Americans. They sort of had a revolution against their British or English overlords, and they sort of had a big war, and that revolution gave them independence. And they still have that revolutionary spirit, and they always not always, but often refer back to it. That revolutionary spirit that made us free, that will always keep us free, and that sort of thing. It's just how
It's,
we are, isn't it? We sort
yeah,
of
from my perspective, I see like don't get me
yeah.
wrong, but British people like sitting down and see what's happening. Actually, when in France would happen the same what in Britain would happen, they
Mm,
definitely react a bit then differently.
mm. I would say all the European nations have a sort of different sort of mentality.
Yeah,
To you could say some are sort of famous have sort of bad sort of characteristics, and some have sort of famously good characteristics. I don't know, let's say the Germans are famous for their engineering and their sort of precision.
punctuality for Swiss.
Punch. Yeah, that's true. That's very true, though, isn't it? And the French, I think they're great debaters. One of the things with the difference between Europe and Britain is, I think in Europe they generally teach philosophy in school. I don't know about Poland, of course. You can perhaps
Yeah,
say, but
yeah. I think there's a subject of philosophy just
hmm. Well, we don't really get that in school in the UK. Never. I was never been the case. So I think debate and argument is much more appreciated, I think, in the Europe than, but for its own sake, I suspect. So did you actually teach? Did you actually do philosophy when you were in education then?
uh no, I had a psychology.
Oh right,
No,
so you could pick what you wanted. I see. So
no,
that was when you were like 14 or 15 or something.
no, actually there was at uni like
Oh, at
because I
uni.
physiotherapy at some point and we had subject of psychology was one of the
Hmm.
mandatory.
Oh, right. Okay.
But you can actually pick like philosophy just as a subject for your university, yeah,
Definitely, most certainly. Hmm.
which is kind of odd because for me, it's kind of difficult for to grade the someone else's to think the way that, it's like a lot of people can, what a lot of things can be, you know, um, a lot of opinion can be different, and how can you
Hmm.
really grade the subject or something like that?
Of course, supposedly in philosophy, you're meant to have like an argument that you can make, and you've got to back it up with th facts, supposedly, and you then might perhaps propose a theory or something like that. So supposedly it's not really opinion, but supposedly, but when it really comes down to it, I think you're right. It is a lot of opinion in it. Um,
But if someone don't agree with your opinion, can undermine your facts anyway. So
Well, yes, that's hopefully at some point people will come to a unified agreement at some point on some points. I mean, I'm sure there'll always be some things that they will disagree about. So it's a bit like I can see Einstein on the screen here. So he discovered some sort of uh, or came up with his theories, didn't he? But his way of explaining how the universe works is pretty much universally agreed. I mean, there's always some details which are not quite finally produced or whatever, not quite finally agreed upon.
It's
So it's the
science.
same sort of thing, but put that into life, I suppose you would say, other
Yeah,
realms of existence.
he's got some philosophical view of something, but he put that in like a black and white on papers, like most like we call it. What was he was famous from those?
Einstein, you mean?
Yeah,
Einstein?
yeah.
Yeah.
What was his theory? Um,
Wow. Um,
the most pop-
the first thing he did was he explained some weird effects, the photoelectric effect, and then he went on to do the relativity, general relativity and special relativity, I think, or the other, general. I think it was special and then general is what he did. And this, we're talking about no one has really been able to explain these problems. He pretty much gave an explanation for them, but really sort of detailed scientific problems. But without what he said, we wouldn't really, let's say, have the mobile phone today as a result.
yeah, and nuclear power.
Yeah, but didn't he famously say something like, "If I'd have known, I'd have been a watchmaker. If he'd have known how his sort of thoughts would be used, he'd have been a watchmaker, so it wouldn't have been done.
Yeah,
He
but
was
in a way,
against
he
it."
also opened the door for other
Yeah,
section
yeah.
of physics.
Someone else would have discovered it. Yes, exactly. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there's a night. I don't know if you watch Oppenheimer. Uh,
I haven't, but I vaguely got the idea, I think, of the
yeah,
story.
that was a very good plot with Einstein with it.
Oh,
So
Einstein appears in that, doesn't he?
yeah, yeah, for a little while, and it's like
Of
he
course.
just, he knew that this weapon would be so destructive, and he said, "I done my bit. It's for you."
Oh, did he say that? Yeah. Hmm. So that was Giuseppe coming in. Hello, Giuseppe. Giuseppe. You said you'd be a little bit late, and you were spot on. A little bit late. So, hello, Giuseppe. If you can hear me, just carry on. We can't hear you just at the moment. Okay, so we'll get back to this. We got distracted talking about Einstein and philosophy. And I'm no philosopher. I can't explain anything in that regard. So, and I think we just finished this. We're talking about the word bastion, and you were saying, Zach, that it's sort of basically means a castle. I think it's sort of it can be just like one of those round towers on a castle. I think that's how we tend to use it. I think is that right? I think so. Yeah, I think so. And also you mentioned that the word probably comes from Bastille, and you were spot on. Is exactly where the word comes from. It comes from the Bastille. The dictionary
That's
confirmed that.
to be honest, that's so
Uh,
um how can I put it this way? Incredible how brain can remember facts from like
mm,
very old, yeah, like
yeah,
years
where does
ago.
it come from? Yeah, that's
Yeah,
strange, isn't it? It was in there somewhere, and it just came out at the right time.
yeah, wow.
Yeah, you're a genius.
No, no, but I just
Um,
I'm surprised how the brain works, to be honest, because in a way I got that picture of I think from school, like from
mm.
secondary school. I saw the picture, and there was a bastion and on it, and I still can see the picture in a way.
Even now, yeah, in your
Yeah,
mind's eye, you can bring it up. That's it. Fascinating, isn't it?
and I
So
wouldn't
that
have,
was a great teacher, clearly, that they really gave you a good lesson that day, and that it's
yeah, I
stuck in your
wouldn't,
mind so much.
yeah, definitely like in a million years I wouldn't thought so that I'm gonna bring that picture again in my mind.
Yeah. Yeah, strange, isn't it? I've got the same sorts of things, but different ones, obviously, I guess. Okay. All right, it's back to this then. Okay, so we got up to irreplaceability. So that one there. Um, so do you fancy reading this little bit here, Zach, and then it'd be over to Giuseppe? That's okay.
The big picture, whether telling stories of researching scientific breakthroughs, today's generative AI isn't very good at creative leaps and novel insights. it's bounded by what it's known. Uh, and the data is trained on and how it thinks by guessing the next word or pixel that best fulfills its uh, prompt.
It's prompt. That's it. So, have you ever used ChatGPT or any of the other?
Yeah,
You have. So you tap in a prompt of some sort. Give me a picture of a cat or something. I don't know,
I've,
or
I've never,
explain something.
I've never asked for the picture actually. I have to check this one then because I was asked
Oh,
for.
I'm always thinking of cats. Sorry.
I'm a dog person, so probably my one would be for the dog.
Oh, yeah. Dogs are great too. I'm not nothing against them. So, hello Giuseppe. I see you sent me a message. So because you're recording the class, I seen. Oh, okay. I can hear you, but I can't turn my mic on. Okay, um, let me try something. I have a little button here, Giuseppe, I can press, and it sends a request to you to unmute yourself. Ah, hopefully you're getting a little something on your screen, but it's not working the same way as normal. Giuseppe, how do you know that it's because we're recording? How do you know that? 'Cause I've had other people join the class other times, and they've been able to take part in the middle of the recording.
I think you have to okay it. He should get the message because when I sometimes joined when was recording, I got the message.
Hmm.
The meeting is recorded, and I always click okay. So probably
Oh,
that.
okay. Ah, so just click OK. Try clicking the OK button if it comes up. If you can't find any OK button, Giuseppe, often what we suggest, and it seems to work half the time, leave the meeting, just leave it, and then just rejoin again a moment or two later, or few seconds later. So go back to the page where you click on that link. So just try leaving if you can't find any way through that, I think. Yeah, he's left. Okay, I heard a bleep then. Hopefully you heard the bleep too.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so the big picture. So we're talking about prompts. Um, it's interesting. So this little bit here, it seems to be saying how AI works. I'll let him in again. Hopefully he can come in again. So this little line here seems to be giving you an indication of how AI works. I notice. So I just read it back. Can you tell me, Zach, how does AI work? So it's bounded by what it knows, the data it's been trained on, and how it thinks by guessing the next word or pixel that that best fills its prompt, which is obviously what you or I would give it. So
Mm.
can you explain back to me how it works, AI?
It's
Based?
like it's rich, really like how can I put it? It's most of the time it's guessing what you want to know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not exactly what you're
Mm.
asking sometimes, but it's just guessing and probably push you in the direction as well.
Mm.
Because it seems like because when I used it, I asked for something, they gave me a bit slightly wrong answer, but it
Mm.
pushed me wrong, like real deeper into it.
That's interesting. It made you think about it in a different way, and
Yeah.
there we go. So Giuseppe, it looks like your mic should be working, but I haven't heard you say anything. Could you say
Yeah,
hello, Giuseppe? Ah, I
yeah,
heard
yeah.
your voice.
Hello, hello.
Oh, thank goodness for that. It works.
I am sorry to interrupt you, but I couldn't see the bottom of the message where I must say okay, and
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I had just a partial
Uh,
vision of the box. So
Perhaps it didn't get constructed properly on your screen for some reason. Yeah,
yeah,
that's okay. Yes.
thank you.
Good. We're sorted out. So we'll just finish this last bit here with yourself, Zach, if that's okay. So maybe if I read this a little bit back to you, perhaps you can put it back into your own words maybe this time again. So the big picture. Whether telling stories or researching scientific breakthroughs, today's generative AI isn't very good at creative leaps and novel insights. So, how would you put
Mm,
that in your own words?
like AI can tell you great stories and even discover some sci-fi, can discover something new in science because it's
Mm.
already done it. Today's AI is like it's very limited in a way to be creative in like saying about the novels and or like yeah create generated
Mm.
something creative which is totally
Yes.
because everyone got own creativity, so it's the way you would think, no other way. But this AI is like definitely manipulate maybe this way. I don't know.
Mm. I think you've used lots of interesting words there. I think it's a lot. It's good. What a lot of you said is good there. I think. So, but when it says novel here, it doesn't mean writing a book, a small book. A novel is a small story. Sorry, that's a novella. A novella is a small story, but a novel is a book, a story, basically. If you look that up, I'm getting confused. I get easily confused. So, a novel, a fictitious prose narrative of book length, typically representing character and action with some degree of realism. So it's sort of a real story. It may be a real story, but normally it's sort of a made up story. So when it says novel, that's what it doesn't mean that. It means it in the sense of new. Novel also means new in this
Yeah,
sense.
it's
New. Sorry,
Latin.
yeah, you got that probably. Okay. Okay. So really it's saying that AI, this last part is the nub of the matter here, really. This is the detail here. So AI isn't very good at creative leaps and new insights. So it can't really make anything new. It just works on what it already knows.
Yeah.
The data it's been trained on. That's sort of what you said, I think, isn't it, really?
So in a way, it can if we missed something to analyze like let DNA codes because it's
Mm.
so complicated and by writing everything on piece of paper or even algorithm would be a bit challenging for human
Mm.
to consume all the knowledge to get something in the end.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah.
We can work on it and analyze
Mm.
from through and through. Can I say that way? Uh,
So I think you're right, really. So they have used AI working on sort of structures of proteins, I think,
some
and
can
because they can fold in because at every angle, at every sort of at every molecule, every atom in the molecule, pretty much it can bend and fold in a different way. It means it might react in a different way when it's in someone's body or wherever it does. I mean, because we can't really predict how they can fold, as you're saying, on a piece of paper, it's just too hard. AI is fantastic at doing that sort of work. It's able to, because it does so many calculations a second. It can somehow work this out in a reasonable length of time, whereas we just couldn't do that. So I think you're right there on the whole. I would say spot on. Um, so thank you very much. That's very good.
Oh,
So.
I thank you, and I have to go because I got class of Spanish
Oh,
in 10 minutes.
okay. Have a good class in Spanish.
Thank you. Ciao. Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. Bye bye. Ciao.
So, yeah, I like that chow. So those are a few languages, isn't it? I think. Okay, so great to have you here, Giuseppe. And it's great that he leaves, you come in.
Yeah, poor Tony, who have to be
No, it's no
patient.
problem. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. It makes it easier in a way, I suppose. So hopefully you just heard what we were saying. And I thought it was very interesting that
Yeah,
we
yeah,
sort of
yeah,
learned that AI doesn't really come up with anything new. It may do, I suppose, but it's not really what it's best at.
yeah,
It
yeah.
really just regurgitates what it already knows, perhaps in a different way, perhaps. which is
Yeah,
partly how we do come up with new ideas, isn't it?
yeah. I listened the part of your
Yeah.
conversation, and actually your reading matches perfectly what with
Mm.
something that happened in Italy last week,
Mm.
because we have kind of experiment in Italian newspaper
Mm.
that is delivering the first AI edition of the newspaper, and
Really?
it has kind of resonance all over the world, because also the Guardian commented
Mm.
this experiment, and
Mm.
yeah, there are lots of there are pros, there are many cons, and
Mm.
yeah, most of the comments are not positive.
Oh,
Uh,
really? Okay.
because yeah the idea to change uh, journalists with AI, it
Mm.
is not the best idea, and particularly because AI can't be present on maybe um in places where events are happening or just happened. So,
Mm.
and
That's
for,
fascinating. Yeah.
and also because, as you were saying just before, AI can say you something just basing on its own knowledge, but
Mm.
apart from that, it cannot generate comments real time,
Mm.
maybe witnessing the situations and so,
Mm.
and you uh, you underline what happened in Sports Illustrated a few years ago,
Oh, yeah.
where the 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 owner fired
Mm.
everyone because they
Yes.
intentionally made the entire magazine using the AI. So I
Mm.
think it was the first case in the world
Mm.
about an kind of mm, use of AI, mm, just not to work properly, I think, because I think journalists intentionally generated that issue uh, mm, because they didn't want to work
Ah,
on that issue. So, but yeah.
that's interesting. That's interesting. So, did Sports Illustrated end up going bankrupt or have financial difficulties as a result of that? I can't remember.
I think it was experiencing a tough moment in his history, because
Mm.
it is the most famous American magazine about sports, and
Mm.
I think it was quite historical magazine,
Yes,
but
quite historic.
as historic, yeah. But
Mm.
I don't know if they had specific consequences from that. Yeah.
Oh, well, we won't look at that. So it may or may not have had the issue. It couldn't have helped it. I wouldn't have thought it helped anyway. Okay, so that's fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. So, okay, so maybe if I read a section,
Mhm.
this first little bit, it's written out with these bullet points here. So that's a little bit unusual. These little dots we call bullet points in the UK. What
Mhm.
would you may have your own name for them. Um, so if I read the sort of the heading here, and then maybe you could go through the bullet points.
Okay,
Okay, so here
great.
we go. So in science, our AI models aren't going to push the boundaries because they're too eager to please people and prove their utility. Thomas Wolfe, Hugging Face's co-founder and chief science officer, wrote on X last week. I think he wrote that presumably on X last week. So it says utility. You could say usefulness, its usefulness. So in other words, AI is trying to prove its its usefulness really. So it's not going to, so it will not be pushing the boundaries. So this is pushing the boundaries is not really going to discover anything. It's just going to give you what it already knows effectively, perhaps in a new form, but it's not really going to push the boundaries as such. Whereas you or I or Mr. Trump pushes the boundaries all the time, of course. Okay. So this is any questions about that bit there? Just ask away if you do have any questions, or just carry on reading. The Wolf asked. So
Mhm.
Wolf is the guy who seems to be the founder of something called
Oh,
Hugging Face. Hugging Face is an AI kind of a business. It sort of is developing AI, I think. Hugging Face. Strange names, isn't it?
mm,
So perhaps you would carry on from here or ask some questions if you
yeah,
want.
yeah, okay. I can read and maybe then we can discuss about these points. So Wolf called AI that does research yes man on servers. To create an Einstein in a data center, we don't just need a system that knows all the answers, but rather one that can ask questions nobody else has thought or thought of or dare to ask. Wolf
Mm.
argued. The benchmarks we are using to gauge AI's advances consist of very difficult questions, usually written by PhDs, but with clear, closed-end answers. Real scientific breakthroughs will come not from answering known questions, but from asking challenging new questions and questioning common conceptions and previous ideas.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay. A little bit tricky, but I think it was good. And this here, that's one sentence, really. There's no full stops in that till we get to the very end here, actually. So that's a bit tricky. So I could definitely understand that one. So if I just read that middle one again, this one here again. So to create an Einstein in a data center, and of course AIs live inside a data center, which is where the computers are basically. So to create an Einstein in a data center, we don't just need a system that knows all the answers, but rather one that can ask questions no one else has thought of or dared to ask, Wolf argues. Okay, and him being the expert on it, there's no argument from me.
Mhm.
Okay, maybe I'll read the next one too then. So the benchmarks. So when it says benchmarks, what do you understand by that? So the benchmarks we're using to gauge AI's advances. So what does benchmarks mean in that sentence, do you think?
Yeah, I think benchmarks are the kind of key points, keywords, or maybe something very important as essential to evaluate or
Yeah.
to know some
Yeah,
things.
so that's sort of it really, but a little bit. But it's a little bit more technical, I would say. But you're right, I would say. So technically, benchmarks. So an engineer or a scientist has measured something, so he knows how long it is, or he knows the quality of it, or the length of it, the details about it. That's normally how you use benchmark, or in a general sense. It's things that have been measured are the benchmarks, you might say. Measurement. So the benchmarks we're using to gauge AI's advances, so that gives you the idea now, doesn't it? So the benchmarks we're using to gauge AI's advances consist of very difficult questions, usually written by PhDs, but with clear, closed-end answers. Real scientific breakthroughs will come not from answering known questions, but from asking challenging new questions and questioning common conceptions and previous ideas. So it's interesting, that, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah. And so that's gauge. I think you said gouge.
yeah. I
That's okay.
mispronounced that.
Yeah, that's
Gauge.
okay. That's okay. Yeah. So it's quite, in a sense, it's quite clear. There's no sort of, there's not much to debate there in a sense, is there? But it's fascinating. So what they're sort of saying is, AI as it is now is not really going to discover anything. But there are some things about it. Its computational power, which is really, really useful, I guess, and very, very useful. That in that sense, it will discover something, but it's not really discovering something new. It's already there, but we couldn't see it, almost. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Yeah. I think it's a very critical position, and maybe also kind of skeptical about
Mm.
how AI can develops in the future. Maybe
The future, yeah.
because of this kind of I think information is channeled in some way, and the answers we have are maybe very, they are quick answers, but yeah, they are anything original, because the difference is about the computational capacity and to synthesize information and everything we fed the AI. So yeah.
We fed the AI. Yes, I like that. And this is interesting little phrase here. Yes men.
Yes,
Would
man.
would you take that to mean yes men?
Oh, yes, man is a person who gives his yes, his back, his approval, his to
Mm.
everything or to everyone who
Yes.
asks him something. So yeah.
Mm. Yeah, that is, it gives their approval. I think that's true. But normally we think about, say, a boss may
Mm.
surround himself or herself with yes men or possibly women,
Yeah,
but we only
exactly.
ever say so. But a yes man doesn't really give any challenging thoughts. Just says, "Oh yes, boss, I'll do that." So another word for that might be a sycophant. That's a good word. I don't know how to spell that really.
Mhm.
So let's put yes men in there, see what it comes up with. Yes man. Yeah, there we go. I'll say yes men. Yes man. There we go. So if you describe a man as a yes man, you dislike the fact that he always seems to agree with people who have authority over him in order to gain favor. So it's really about gaining favor, I suppose, isn't it? That's what a sycophant is, isn't it, I think. Sycophant. Has it got sycophant down there somewhere? Yes, there we go. So a servile, like a servant or a slave, well, servile, servant, submissive, uh, acquiescent, that's an interesting word,
Yes, yeah.
acquiescent,
Yes.
subordinate, assistant, or associate, and that's the word there, sycophant, sycophant. Just seem to say anything to make you happy, and so they get their pay rise or whatever. Almost, that's a yes man, you might say. They're sort of useless in an important job in a sense. But here they're saying that yet AI effectively is a yes man, which is interesting. I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, and I think is one of the most important uh, thoughts we must have about AI, because yeah,
Mm.
I'm sure you know the experiments someone did with AI coming from, for example, China, and
Mm.
how mm, its pieces of information were pretty oriented, uh, saying something or not saying something, naming someone or not naming
Oh,
someone. So and, I think and just to say something more, Italian newspaper, the editor underlined the fact that this is a clear demonstration how AI can work when well fed. Yeah, it means how easy is manipulate the information that comes from AI. And yeah.
It's interesting what you said just then. That was fascinating. I have heard a story, and I think I've looked at. So there's Chat GPT, and then you can have numbers after that as well. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think most people deal with the number 4. I think.
Or yeah.
Somebody found out or said that if you tap in a certain name, and it might just be Michael Peter or something, and you ask it, "Oh, tell me about this person," whichever that name is, and it will start and it will just stop halfway. And they couldn't understand what was going on. And it's not just one name; it's a whole series of names. What has happened is that there's been some sort of a legal challenge that that this person, let's make up this name, Michael Peters. I've just made that name up. It's not a real name, just made up for example. So let's say that this Michael Peters chap has found that that ChatGPT has been saying something which is untrue, which is basically libelous about them. And so he's then sent a challenge in to the people who run ChatGPT, and they have had to put a special piece of code in there which stops ChatGPT saying anything about this person who has been libeled by ChatGPT. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So they tap their name in, it comes out with libel, and so it's now been stopped when that one person puts their name in. But it's not just one name. I guess it's every time something goes wrong, that person's name, they've been libeled, so we'll stop ChatGPT talking about that at all. So there are issues there, aren't there?
Yeah, and I think for sure. And today I had kind of I was confirmed about that ChatGPT can't how to say, can't express the nuances we want our lines, our the articles we want to be in. And for example, this morning there was an article from a journalist who was criticizing that journal. And there was also the opportunity to listen to the same article read by AI. And I don't know why, but I thought, okay, let's try. And actually, everything was in Italian, so I quite understand everything. I was reading an article, but I was listening to a very different article.
Oh.
So you in English, you use, for example, the suffix ish to describe something that is kind of, and yeah, in Italian, we have the same way to express, to describe something. And there were quite critical, skeptical, negative passages and in the article, but they were changed in a very flat, monotone language by the AI, because I think AI didn't understand the nuance of those words, and they delete the ish, I give you as an example, ish suffixes, and changed the word into the original word, but the meaning is completely different.
Oh.
And yeah, it is another interesting thing to talk about.
Yes.
or to think about AI. So if I want to convey a meaning, you can't change my the way I express my ideas in a very
Mm.
flat or gray language.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
Fascinating. One thing I also noticed, I wasn't aware of this until a few months ago, or a month ago, perhaps a month ago, was that if you're researching something, I can't really think of an example. Certain AI engines only look for one other source that sort of proves something, and then it sort of gives you the results. Whereas other AI engines might look for two or three different sources, and they see which agree, and then they give you the best answer out of the three. And I found that fascinating. I didn't realize that until recently. So that might be some of it. So I know also you can tap in sort of a rewrite. If I tap that, say rewrite AI, that's what comes up. So you can pump in. These seem to be all AI engines that if you pump in a sentence into the box, it will rewrite it for you.
Yeah. They can rephrase your sentences several times, and
That's interesting. Here we go. So this one says one variant, and so I've hit the drop down. Nothing's happening. So I can do three variants. So it'll write the same sentence out three different ways or five different ways. So it's
yeah,
interesting. You really do have to look at how accurate it is. Is it getting this point over, but not that point over? So it's fascinating.
yeah. I think it is a good tool for learners because
Yes,
you
yes,
can
education. Yeah,
you can know lots of synonyms or different structures. But yeah, if you want to be original, it's better to make lots of mistakes and be helped from skilled people and yeah, or from teachers and yeah.
yes, yeah, fascinating. Okay, so let's go back to this then. Here we go. So, so I don't know what this is going to say. So, getting AI to produce compelling art looks even more unlikely. So, compelling art. So, let's say good art maybe, but it doesn't really quite mean the same thing. So let's tap that into the dictionary to get the word compelling. Very drawing to the eye, I would say. So a compelling argument. I guess we're looking for art idea, aren't we? So yeah, that's similar, I suppose, isn't it? So the synonyms say fascinating, gripping, irresistible, enchanting. Maybe enchanting art. So I think the synonyms are work quite well. So compelling. If you look at the synonyms, that's very helpful. So that's so getting AI to produce that kind of art looks even more unlikely. That's interesting. Okay, so I've read that bit. I've got the
Mhm.
easy bit. You've got the hard bit now. Do you want to read that bit there? Is that okay?
Okay. Most work produced by AI is literally derivative. Of course, most artists, especially at the start of their careers, learn by imitation, and many human artworks are effectively collages, rewrites, or remixes. But memorable artists develop distinctive voices by mixing their own experiences and obsessions with whatever they have learned from the artist they admire, and even their colleges sound like them.
Mm.
People seek out art because hearing those voices inspires them, leaving them feeling connected with the artist in a way that they cherish.
Well, that's interesting, isn't it? So with this last one, because it's people seeking out art because those voices inspire them, it's the person themselves that inspires them in some way. Can that work with AI? Can AI inspire another human? I love the AI. It's so wonderful how it does that. That seems unlikely, doesn't it? Interesting.
Yeah, but I think until now, the maybe images AI generated are nothing uh, compelling on enchanting in my mind. So when there are maybe images that pretend to describe something and they are generated by AI, they don't evoke in myself any kind of feeling. Maybe they are accurate in their description, but they show kind of standardization, if I can use this term. So they are similar to 100 other images. And yeah, I think that the last paragraph is meaningful in this sense, and about the feelings that masterpiece can evoke in in a man, in a woman, in a normal person who is in front of something amazing, I think.
Yeah, very powerful. That, yes, very true. So this word came up a couple of times, and a collage or collages. So not colleges, but collage. It's a piece of art normally. And a collage is often a mixture of other things, perhaps a lot of other things. So let's just pop it in there. So let's get the detail.
Collages.
Collage. So yeah, collage. Let's listen to that.
Collage.
Yeah. So I'm just putting a sort of a French sort of an accent on that very slightly. So collage. There we go. And collages.
Collages.
Oh, collage. Oh, she says jizz. Let's listen to that again.
Collages.
Collages. I wasn't aware of that. Okay. So a collage is a picture that has been made by sticking pieces of colored paper and cloth onto paper. But it could also be you've gone to a newspaper and cut out other pictures and put these other pictures onto a collage. So it's that sort of mix and match sort of an idea. And obviously collages, I think even people stuck bits of pottery onto a picture, physical, lumpy, sharp-edged pottery. That kind of a collage. Would an AI do that? I don't know. Not at the moment, anyway. But fascinating. Okay, so that's a collage, and so they're saying that. Let me read that perhaps that first one again. Then. Okay, so most work produced by AI is literally derivative. So worked from something else. Nothing new, but derivative. But it does say most, so not all, but most. So of course, most artists, especially at the start of their careers, learn by imitation, of course. And many human artworks are effectively collages, rewrites, or remixes. So that's that one there. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. It speaks for itself, really, doesn't it? That bit there. Absolutely fascinating. So it's about 1:15. Perhaps we go for a few more minutes, if that's okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have the time to stay. If you do, just stay, or if you don't, just go. It's okay to go. Don't stay if you can't stay. Something. So I'll read this bit here in blue, and then maybe you do the next bit again. So the short story Altman posted showed formal facility, but many of the responses on X found it, as I did, more exercise than expression. So this little bit here, I think you might have missed this bit because you came in halfway through. So the short story Altman posted, I think Altman is this guy who runs, I think it's OpenAI, I think he runs, or he's the chief executive officer, I think is that one. and he has an AI now that is writing stories. It writes creative stories. And so what he's saying is, so he's posted this story, but many of the responses about this AI story on X found it, as I did, more exercise than expression. So it was sort of going through the motions, is what I would think of there. It went through the motions of writing a story, but perhaps a bit expressionless. There was no soul. I'm guessing there was no soul in it, no heart, nothing deeper than just words, sort of a thing. And so that's my interpretation there. So this next bit here then is, so between the lines, plenty of artists will find AI a valuable creative tool or an aid to brainstorming, just as many researchers will employ it to speed their work. Okay. So you can comment on that if you want, or you can just carry on reading the bullet points below if that's okay. You can do whichever you want, Giuseppe.
Yeah, I think that yeah, there are lots of artists who are asking some help to AI, and yeah, I think it is pretty normal nowadays. There are writers who confess that they wrote a book using AI. So there is a platform. I think it is a Korean one with hundreds of songs made using AI, and yeah, there is a kind of empty line, and if you have sort of idea, inspiration, or thought, you can write down there, and from that point on, AI can help you writing a song, finding the right lyrics, the good notes, and yeah, at the end you have your song, your personal song. So
but will the lyrics rhyme if they needed to rhyme?
yeah, I think
Can do. Okay.
AI does almost the most, and yeah, you must give AI just the incipit of the song or the chapter or whatever you want. So, but it is impressive the number of songs that there are on that platform, and how different styles. So you can, of course, select the songs by their style, maybe beats, and every kind of quality you are seeking in a song. So, and you can have your song in I think in a short time.
Yeah, was it instantly almost, actually? Yes.
Yeah.
Works so fast.
Great.
Do you fancy reading this bit here, maybe?
Yeah, and so before we close the session, I read these lines. Okay. But creation is likely to remain hard work for human beings. It takes effort to wrestle a vague idea in your head into words, images, and any other material for an audience to encounter. This is the sort of friction that AI visionaries sometimes promise to liberate us from.
Okay, so this word here, so that's visionaries. Visionaries. So it's sort of not exactly a prophet, but people who are looking into the future and thinking, oh, this is how AI will work or might work, or perhaps it'd be good things that we're talking about, perhaps it'd be bad things if there's bad things out there that they see. So a visionary is someone who sort of guides where we're going or has big ideas. So hopefully some of our best politicians maybe have vision into the future. And you might, but it's rare, I would say, that you talk about a politician being visionary.
Visionary.
Visionary. Yeah. So basically, I'm saying vision, and then I'm saying Aries on the end of it. So visionaries.
Visionary. Visionaries. Visionaries.
I think I'm saying vision, Aries, visionaries.
Visionaries.
I think you're getting it.
Visionaries.
I
Okay.
think you get it. I think you get it. Yeah.
Visionaries.
That's it.
Visionaries.
Visionaries.
Visionaries. Okay.
It's tricky, isn't it? So that's a word to practice for you, I think, then. And there's a couple of words here that came out, I noticed. So if I just read this bit again. So it takes effort to wrestle a vague idea in your head into words. That's true. I find that true. Images or any other material for an audience to encounter. So it's just vague
Vague.
and wrestle. Those are the two words I noticed.
Wrestle. Okay.
That's really good.
Wrestle and vague. Okay.
You've got that perfect. It's just that one's tricky. Yeah, it is a bit of an odd word.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
So a lot of it really is sort of repeating the same things, isn't it? In a way, we sort of had this idea, and it's been pasted into a different area, really. So
Yeah, I think there are repetition because maybe it's the same in scientific field, in writing field, and maybe when you want to generate images and
to make something clear as well, and also sort of putting it in different ways and in different fields, aren't they? I think. So here they're saying, but creation is likely to remain hard for human beings. It always has remained hard. And that's presumably why AI can't do it, I guess. So this is a sort of friction. This is the sort of friction that AI visionaries sometimes promise to liberate us from. So are they talking about the bit that just came before? The AI visionaries think that we're going to be liberated from that. It's hard to make creation. Being creative is hard. So are AI visionaries saying that AI is going to release us from that? I suppose maybe to a degree. I haven't expressed that very well, but so do forgive me there. I can see that AI will help with the process of creation, when someone's making a new work, which is pretty much what you said. So it's research. It will help very much in research. But I guess it's still the human directing the AI to research different things, so that the human can then bring those things together to create something that's new.
Yeah, I think it is this matter of some abilities or we have, and AI in this moment don't have, for example, filtering the reality and elaborate the inputs we receive from the reality, from the surrounding, and maybe translate these inputs into images or in lines or in a poem, it is something that AI in this moment does not have. And
As you were saying then, it made me suddenly think about, so is it, I wonder if it's possible or is it impossible to get an AI to examine a photograph and then get the AI to describe the photograph in words? Can it do that? Or is that beyond its ability?
I think it is possible. Of course, it depends on how many information AI has, and I think if it has a set of information, it can describe the situation, the context, the expressions, and yeah, but only the photographer or the person who is in the picture knows exactly what was happening in that moment, what were thoughts
Yes.
behind that frame and everything. So I can say, okay, I can see this picture. In this picture, there is a man. This man seems to be sad. And that's all. Okay, that's the description of the picture. But yeah, probably I don't know if AI can list,
interpret.
yeah, can list a series of situation or to hypothetic
Yes.
background to that picture. So I think it is better. Maybe we are talking about a picture to be free to imagine something, and everyone can find something in a picture or in a in that moment, because maybe you can see the same picture 2 years later and you have a different reaction, and so
Whereas the AI just cannot do that.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
we must save the plasticity of our brain or our circuits, and yeah, probably my vision is kind of old school vision, but yeah.
That's interesting. So you're said there then that in a way that we are the product of our surroundings.
Yeah.
So in a sense, we are also saying that AI is the product of what we feed it. So there's obviously a lot of similarity there, but at the same time, we still don't see AI being interpreting. It's interesting what you're saying about the idea of a photo. So you or I might see the photo to say the man is sad, but in the corner of the photo is sort of what you were saying, really, that we might see something, the leg of somebody. We might say, oh, that's the lady leaving him, or something, or someone going that he loves, or is just perhaps they're going to war. It could be his son going to war or something, and that's why he's sad. Whereas, as you say, the AI probably won't jump to that conclusion. As perhaps incorrectly, we might jump to that conclusion because it's our experience.
Yeah, and also because I think everyone has a way to interpret to when we are in front of a picture, for example. And yeah, of course, the ability to dissect the picture that AI has is impressive, because I think its analysis is completely different, pixel by pixel, so sectioning the image and everything you want. But I don't know how in depth AI can go to, yeah, to feel the expressions and yeah, that particular light you can have in the eyes of a person, or just a tiny expression of the face. And yeah, I don't know if AI can link together these minuscule particulars and offer a complete vision. I don't know actually.
But maybe in time it will be able to do those things. Of course, that's the issue we're really talking about, isn't it? I guess ultimately. So this is a picture of not quite a sad man, but maybe he's sad in this photo. sort of sadder than the other ones. Having a crazy time here,
Yeah.
relax there. So
Yeah, but for example, I am looking at the picture on the left, and I see the picture, and I have that image that goes into my brain, and my brain is describing without words that picture. And I think that this is something that it is absolutely human and personal, and AI cannot resemble this experience, because I see something, and in my brain works and describes and absorbs something and think about without words. So I think this flow of thoughts is something that is impossible for AI to copy, and yeah.
Well, let's hope it remains impossible.
Yeah, yeah. Of course, they are resembling our circuits, and yeah, but until human beings will exist,
For as long as humans exist.
they or we will be human beings, and AI will be a powerful machine, but machine.
Yeah. A machine. We started off with this photo at the very beginning. Just before we move back to the top again, notice we've got this LLM sort of acronym here. So that in English stands for Large Language Model. Large Language Model. So sort of this is one particular way, I think, in which AIs can work, or ChatGPT can work, I think. So large language, that's what they sometimes refer to. That's what the double LM stands for. But we started off looking at this photo. I just like this photo or picture. So this is an AI doing a drawing, and the point is, is copying something we all know, hopefully. But it is doing exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
And
It
not making
just
any
happened.
changes.
It just happened.
Yeah. And it can't go beyond that, in a sense. That's the fascinating thing about it. So we've had about an hour.
Yeah.
An hour and a half, actually. I've had an hour and a half. You've had about an hour, I think. So maybe we'll call it a day there.
Okay.
It's a fascinating discussion. Hope it's been useful.
Thanks for offering us the opportunity to read about these topics and talk about them, because
Yes. Okay. And
thank you so much.
So in April we go back to the small fee for the group meetings.
Okay. Perfect. No problem.
Good. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
And see you
Tom,
next time, hopefully.
See you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.